Hello again, team. We're going to do a quick video here to look at projects. So projects are the big umbrella under which a group of tasks all reside. So one project, for instance, here inside of Sandy Claus is this Mr. Pugsy video promo series. Right? Let's just say I'm going to be the owner of this particular project. This is a project, because it's teal, so that teal color you can see there. I generally keep projects up at the top of the list. I'm going to assign a due date for this, so I want to make sure that the whole project itself is completed by November 30th. And then I can go in and start deciding, okay, what are the individual items that need to be accomplished? So I can add a little description, let's lab dog. Because awesomeness. So basically the description should be long enough that someone looking at it can really understand start to finish what this project is going to entail. We should make sure that it's linked to the appropriate Google Drive and Box folders for that project, right? So that any files that are being stored are accessible right inside of the project itself, of that project card. And then we're going to also go ahead and we'll add a checklist here. And this is the additional items that need to be done here, right? So we had sort of listed those out before. Right now we've only got, we've got adopt or buy a superstar dog, right? And really we had put a bunch of checklist items underneath of this, but these are kind of all their own individual items. So you can see we took rhinestone collar and made that one individual item. That was the one that we completed in the past video. But each of these is kind of its own item. So we're going to convert these to cards. So we need to know where to find the puppy. We need to create a budget for this. And we need a compensation package. We've kind of completed that, but I should say just treats. Compensation package, treats. And so we'll convert that. And so now we've got, if I close this, adopt or buy a superstar dog, decide whether to adopt or buy a superstar dog. So we made that decision, right? So now this one we can move through to complete because it's been discussed. We click labels. Let's see here. When we click on L for label, we can mark it as resources and done and get rid of the top importance. And we also make sure to check off that checkbox, right? So now we've got some additional cards in here. So we're going to click A on each of these to assign them to RIP, and D to give them a due date. I'm going to just put in some random due dates here, right? All right, and so now we've got these various items that are tied into this project, right? And so we would generally give them all as much detail as we had given over here to the adopter or buy a superstar dog or to the rhinestone collar. But for the sake of time here, we're just going to go ahead and we'll just add in Rimmel and Hop. And I'm just gonna say for the sake of speed here that each one of these has 1 hour that it's going to take, and that each of them is a low priority item. So we've got those set up. Low priority is purple. Purple is number 5 on the keyboard. The keys from 1 to 5 handle the labels, and I'll show you labels in the next video coming up. But now we've got a bunch of different cards. I'm going to archive this one with the letter C. Again, you don't need to remember what these different shortcuts are because you'll have a shortcuts sheet to work off of. But we've now got these different items that are all really under this umbrella of the Mr. Pugsy video promo series. Now, we don't really need a project if we only have one project on the whole board, right? We don't need a projects list. But the thing is, this is just one of many projects that we'll be handling for Sandy Claus. And in fact, if Sandy Claus was a large enough client, we might even break them out into multiple boards. But in this case, we've got this one board for Sandy Claus. And so we need to make sure that if we ever want to check in on the health of a project, we can just look at this card and see, what's happening with all of the different tasks underneath of it, all of the cards that belong to this project card. So we're going to go to the connections by Ultimello. Now what you'll find is that usually if you try to click on it one time, it doesn't work, you have to click refresh on the page. That's fine. You're not using this plugin all the time. You're going to click on it, and then you'll click on children and edit, right? So from the project card, you'll edit children, and you can see up here now it says please select children for that card, and we're going to click on each one of these that has to do with that card. So we've now got 5 cards that relate to the Mr. Pugsy video promo series, right? This one here is a resource that does not relate because it's a general file resource. It's not specific to the Mr. Pugsy promo series. And then we'll click done and check out what happens here. So we can see that we've got 2 items that are completed, right? Because they have that green color to them. That coincides with the green of the date that we had checked off. So because we checked off that date, those items are showing up as green here, which is really cool. We also know that they're in the go live and done column, so that also tells us what's happening there. And then we've got the to do and doing ones, right? So all of this here adds up to tell us what the status is of our project. Now, if we move one of these over and we say, okay, the budget is now in inspection, and we say, okay, now it's inspection, so we're gonna give it to Tara, whatever. You can see we would change it. My picture is blocking some of the functionality in here. But we'll go back in here and we can see now that that one's changed and it's in a different category. So we see that progress of all of our tasks on this project and what's happening. Now I can just take a screenshot of this and send it right over to my manager, to my client, and give them a quick idea of some of the progress that's happening, how many hours are likely to be involved in this project, and even just update the project itself up here. So I could say RD, right, because we always want to have that prefix even on projects. And now I can just count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 hours. But of that, you can see that we only have 3 hours left. So if I wanted to be really specific, I could say, okay, there's 3 hours left. Cool. So now we've got that update. Don't worry too much about updating the hours left on a project every time you make a change, but once a week is a healthy way to keep that updated. So yeah, now we've got this whole setup, and this is a project. Now we know everything that's happening with the health of this. Now, one quick note. We want to make sure that when we click on, normally if you click on the description, it's going to just give you the description you typed in. Ultimello, that plugin that we were looking at, Connections by Ultimello, that adds the children, that actually adds them as a hidden comment in or a hidden description element. So because that's there, we're going to want to make sure that when we edit the description, we do not delete anything, including this line. We only want to edit or delete anything from up here, right? So if we save that now, bam, now we've got our children there still. That's great. We don't want to mess that up. Otherwise, we lose track of how those different projects are progressing. It doesn't delete the cards themselves, but it deletes that part of the description that shows us the children. So that is how you use projects. I love projects. You may not use them that much depending on your role in terms of whether you're managing projects or whether you're just really managing your own individual tasks. But anytime you are managing a top level project, it's really important that you keep the grouping of cards underneath that top level project. If it's just 2 or 3 cards that are related to something, you don't have to create a top level project. Top level projects should be pretty sparingly used. I generally only have a handful, between 4 and 10 on any given board, and we want to keep that pretty limited. So that's it. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video where we're going to talk about labels in a little bit more depth.